And you know what Breedlove told me? He told me that when he quit seed oils, because Saladino talked him into it, he wasn't sunburning as bad as he used to. Yeah, one of my favorite memes. It's true, but the thing you can talk about with seed oils is that a high omega 6 diet does make you more susceptible to sunburn, and it is fascinating because it is recognizable. It is immediately something that can be proof of work where people can do it and see the outcome, and it's just unbelievable for people, and it happens quick, right? You know how when you so everyone knows this, you take chemotherapy and your hair falls out, right? The reason why is because your skin cells, right? These cells that make up your dermis, epidermis, etc. Those have the quickest turnover. So if you change your diet, change your environment, it's something that will change more quickly, right? As opposed to your joints or your heart or your fat cells and things like that. So people eat a low omega 6 diet and they're like, I used to go out and I had to put sunblock on after 30 minutes or I'd burn real bad. And now I, I'm out for 4 hours and I don't even burn. And, that's the example Robert Breedlove gave me. And I hear that over and over again. And it's great because I love that. I mean that all the time because you can talk about diabetes and heart disease till you're blue in the face. And most people are not very motivated to engage in that because, what they hear is everything's giving me cancer. Everyone's going to give me the heart disease. I can't just go out and enjoy myself. I think you can. I think that if you went to one thing I love repeating is that if you went to a wedding reception that was seed oil free and you stuffed your face and you had a good time, you, number one, would not notice that it was seed oil free. Number two, you'd be eating just like people were 100 years ago that were gluttonous at times, that had a good time at times, right? And they were not dying at a young age of these diseases that we see now. So my point is that the worst thing for you, which is seed oils, doesn't even taste good. I know what you asked is like, why did these, I'm sorry, I just remembered, why did this occur, like economically? The argument could be that it was an economic opportunity initially with cottonseed oil. If you look into the history of this, it was a waste product, and then they realized that they could adulterate lard with it, for instance. We actually have records, folks have written about this, records in Canada of them discovering that the lard that was sent up to Canada from the US was adulterated, right? So they weren't happy about that. They more legitimately commercialized it with Crisco, which was released, I think it was first sold in 1911. But the explode, and that was not the norm yet. The explosion was in the 70s. I'm not an economist, and I haven't written a book on this, but what I have looked into it is that it all lines up right with the subsidies of farming and soybean oil. But it's at a certain level, because no one's omniscient, no one knows everything with this stuff. It's people have strived to build a predictable, controllable, profitable, cheap food supply to feed people, and God bless them for doing that, right? But like most things, the road to hell being paved with good intentions, right? We have to pay attention to the quality in the systems and adjust them as we can over time, and not lie and not hide things and be honest about stuff. So I think your average person in the government or at Cargill or at your grocery store or even your physician or your nurse or all those folks, your average person is just going along with momentum. But certain lies and certain things that are not on the up and up need to have light shown on them. I think it just started as an opportunity, as something that you could sell, and because it's more easily controlled and grown and homogenized. Because that's what a centralized system is going to want: predictable, homogenized, as safe as possible. That's why we have laws on dairy. That's why we have pasteurization laws, because it can be more centralized. It can be more literally homogenized. It can be more predictable. They can test it. A lot of folks look at this. Okay, this is how we're going to have safe food, right? My argument is, and then they will say, you are sick because you're overweight. You're sick because it's your fault. Like, we have been gaslit into we're sick because it's our fault. Because if they had to admit that the quality of the food was causing these problems, everyone would freak out. Like, oops, I accidentally ate a couple more bites, and that's why I had a heart attack at 64. You could eat like Thanksgiving meals. You could eat ice cream. You could do all these things, and you wouldn't be having a heart attack at 62. And we're like, oh, that's just normal, right? It's ridiculous. So I think it's the phantom menace out there that doesn't even need to exist. But there's so many economic layers and bureaucratic layers, and there's so much history to it that you don't change that overnight. What you do is you get a lot of people to say they don't want to eat it, just like with gluten, right? It creates a economy of products out there that don't have it, and eventually you start changing the minds of people that actually matter. We had some ideas to put together some more like professional organizations, which we've been working at behind the scenes. How do you recruit more doctors to talk about these kind of things? It's already happening with low carb diets, people that talk about keto and carnivore. What I like about my focus is that this is very specific. We're talking about an actual ingredient. Like, I would say there should be rules for how much omega-6 could be in a fryer, because it is dangerous. I mean, it's people make fun of when you compare things to smoking, but an order of fries is actually worse than a pack of cigarettes.
What are good options, I guess? What are some good oils? What are some things that people could do or should be doing when it comes to taking care of themselves? And, we want to stay away from these things, but what are some things that we could be doing to be better?
If you want the answer to that question right there and you like that spicy clip, check it out here. Come on, we'll see you in there. But if you want the full interview in its entirety, all the spicy clips put together, and you're not going to want to miss it, believe me, then check that out here. Come on, we'll see you in there. Do it.